Hey guys, it's David, and welcome to another episode of Right Politics. Today I wanted to talk about the stimulus and what I believe, my views on it and how it might be a little bit different than what other people believe. But I honestly believe that a second stimulus, although it would be good in the short term, would actually be very bad in the long term. Because the reality is probably about only 20% of the population would actually receive any benefit from it. But in the long run, inflation will hit us all. For instance, my mother would not receive it. A lot of my brothers and family members would not receive it. So even if 1 out of 5 people in a family receive unemployment, the thing is that it would cause mass inflation among everywhere. And I know this for sure because I'm here in New York, and it's the same thing with like raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. When you raise the minimum wage, prices all across the board go up. You go to a McDonald's here in Manhattan, and like quarter pounders $6, where in other parts of America it's $3. So a lot of the reasons why they have to increase the price is because the overhead, the building costs more, and they also have to pay more in hourly wage. But the inflation that we're talking about would be printing trillions of dollars and putting it out into our economy in the way of stimulus. So once that trickles out among the economy, prices will rise to compensate. Now, I do believe that a stimulus plan is a good idea, just the way that you pay for it has to be different. The way that you should pay for a stimulus plan is to raise the debt ceiling to cover the plan and then only pay out through what is generated through taxes or what is being issued through bonds. Because if you just print money, of course, inflation can happen. They're targeting, the Fed's target a 2% yearly inflation rate, but a lot of estimates are going to be projected at 4 to 5% inflation rate throughout the next 2 or 3 years, 2021, 2022, and 2023. So I would like to know what you guys think about that. Do you believe that the short-term benefit is good? Do you believe that it's worth taking the long-term risk of inflation to actually, have money for those who need it? But I also want to put one more counter argument. As you know, unemployment is an insurance that is paid through the states. Every time they take out that 1.5% out of your check, involuntarily, the same way they do the Social Security, that money is basically put in a fund. And that fund is not touched for anything except unemployment. So the part that I'm raising issue with is federal unemployment, when they're adding an extra $400 to $600 on top of anywhere from $250 to $350 in the state unemployment, to where people are making more in unemployment than they are just from the normal job that they had before the pandemic. And also, it goes to the part of wasteful spending. If we have so many trillions of dollars in debt that we're not even putting a nick on. I mean, Trump did a good job, lowering it slightly. But we're talking about the amount that we would have to put towards the national debt is like paying off anywhere from 5 to 10% a year for like 10 years. Or if it's 5% a year for 20 years. So that means if you had a kid that was born in 2020, it's not going to be until 2040 until the national debt's paid off. And even when there was a surplus, under the Clinton administration, they did not use that surplus properly, in my opinion. The surplus was there alongside of the debt. So when a company posts earnings of like billions of dollars, but then you find out they also have billions of dollars worth of debt, but they're choosing not to pay off that debt. In the same way, it's like when you have credit card debt, but you choose not to pay it off because you need your income for things like rent, food, clothing, and shelter. In the same way, the government works that way. They carry a large amount of debt, but they use their income that is, generated through taxes to pay off the needs of the people. But right now, the government is exceeding our budget by 15%, and that has been, year to date, year over year over year. Now, another thing that I would, want to see done is something that I thought was, dictators did, and I thought it was illegal, because you always hear that Russia, owns government buildings, and you pay the rent to the government, and the government, sponsors all of the industrial stuff. But when I was studying the stock market and for my SIE, I realized that there's this part of the government, where it is legal for the government to buy into bonds and to buy into the stock market. And there was this guy in the government a few months ago where they were spending, basically billions of dollars buying these junk bonds in the market in hopes that it would raise the market, and hopes that it would basically let the investors, influence and the investors' optimism of the market grow so they would invest also. But what the government should do, in my opinion, is every year, as far as their spending, put money into a fund that actually invests in the stock market and invests in long-term stocks. So for instance, instead of just bailing out the flight industry or the air industry or the car industry, yes, give them money to stay afloat, but also buy a large number of their stocks and bonds and hold it for like 10 years. So then the government would be paid dividends year after year and actually increase their income. And then if you were to be able to increase the government's income by 15%, we could easily pay off the national debt in 10 years without even touching our own principal. So basically, let's just say the government takes in, now these are rough numbers, like $3 trillion a year. You take 30 billion of that, which is stretching it, and you put it in stocks that pay a dividend of 10%, and automatically you're generating, $300 million. And the thing is that would happen year after year after year, regardless of what the stock price would do. So hopefully it didn't get too over, but I do like finances. But yeah, it's just one of those things. So let me know what you think in the comments, and be sure to like, post, and subscribe, and we'll see you on another episode of Right Politics.